On Wednesday, Ghana's lawmakers commended ECOWAS for its heightened role in brokering peace in the troubled Gambia. The African Union, AU, and the UN Security Council were also given a thumbs up for their swift intervention and response to the post-election crisis, which many feared could have escalated into war. Ghana played a dual role as a mediator with former President John Mahama at the far front, and also deployed 205 troops to the Gambia to improve the political leverage in the West African nation.
Following the December 1st election in the Gambia, there was tension in the sub-region when the then President Yahya Jammeh refused to hand over power after initially conceding. Due to the unrest and uncertainty, the president-elect Adama Barrow was escorted to safety in neighboring Senegal. Various international bodies, including ECOWAS, swiftly stepped in to help avert any possible violence. President Jammeh stood his ground and insisted on the elections being held again. When his deadline to hand over power elapsed, the president-elect, Mr. Adama Barrow, had to be sworn in at the Gambia's embassy in Senegal. Later, however, after a series of diplomatic negotiations, Mr. Jammeh left his country on January 21, 2017 for Guinea. The MP for Futu, Mr. Alexander Afenyo-Makin, in a statement lauded ECOWAS's multi-purpose approach in calming the waters in the Gambia.
The determination of ECOWAS, the cooperation of the UN Security Council, and indeed the wider international community, as well as the spontaneous jubilation of the Gambians home and abroad, have sent a clear message that political adjustments engineered to subvert the will of the people, unconstitutional alternations in political power, democratic dictatorships, and paternalistic autocracies that characterize governance of yesteryears will no longer be tolerated.
I dare say that the success of the resolution of the Gambian crisis is exactly because ECOWAS was willing and ready to take this bold step. And here, I'd like to commend former President Rawlings, who signed this protocol, former President Mahama, who participated in the negotiations, and His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, whose first international test perhaps this was, and who rose to the occasion.
I am particularly impressed because ECOWAS quickly realized that if they didn't go into mediation, anything could happen. And it's not the first time that we have seen some of these problems that we wouldn't like to be associated with.
The undercurrent to President Jammeh's U-turn of handing over and not handing over was the threat that he will be handed over to the International Criminal Court of Justice for abuses and atrocities associated with his administration. That was the undercurrent. And Mr. Speaker, the lesson again, let's be gracious in defeat and magnanimous with victory.
When we keep on wrestling for power and wrestling to change the constitutional framework to enable us to stay in power, these are some of the actions that could breed conflict situations. And in conflict situations, Mr. Speaker, it is mostly women and children who suffer a lot.
On her part, Ghana deployed 205 troops to help with security in the troubled nation. Members cautioned ECOWAS to continue the precedents, especially in the face of possible election disputes in the sub-region. The Defense Minister designate, Mr. Dominic Nituwo, told the House that Ghana's troops will stay on in the Gambia as a stabilization force. Meanwhile, the House has approved and reassigned 13 MPs to serve at the Pan-African Parliament and the ECOWAS Parliament. 5 will serve in the Pan-African Parliament, while 8 will represent Ghana at the ECOWAS Parliament. Sitting was then adjourned to Thursday, January 25th, 2017.